Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System was more than just a boxing video game. This game was one of the best games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and this game focused heavily on figuring out your opponent boxer's attack patterns, which made it such a fun and ingenious game. Unfortunately, there are only a few games in the Punch-Out series, but the legacy Punch-Out had on the Nintendo Entertainment System was more than anything short. Anyhow, this is my Neo review of Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System is such a fun video game. Little Mac, who is the main character, is a short boxer, and the backstory states that he is 17 years old, and you have your trainer as well, Doc Lewis. Little Mac controls very well. He can punch with the A button and block and move around. I feel out of the three main Punch-Out games, Super Punch-Out was the most expansive in terms of its gameplay, but Punch-Out for the NES has a very simple gameplay concept: memorizing your opponent's attacks and countering your attacks to defeat them. Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System was one of the few, if not the only boxing game to have such a clever gameplay style when it comes to boxing games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and that is why, in my opinion, Punch-Out stood out so differently back on the Nintendo Entertainment System back in those days. Punch-Out's development was actually quite interesting. Daniel Takada produced the Punch-Out arcade games and decided to direct the NES versions of Punch-Out. Since the NES had limitations, they decided to make the boxer a shorter boxer, which is why Little Mac exists as a character in this video game. Punch-Out was a very successful video game. The GameSpot reader poll ranked this video game the 6th greatest NES game, and honestly, I don't disagree in the slightest. The gameplay of Punch-Out is a lot of fun. What really makes Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System such a fun NES game is that every boxer in this game has a different attack pattern. The game is divided up into 3 circuits. The World Circuit, which is the last circuit, gets really difficult. There were some very memorable boxers in this game: Piston Honda, Bald Bull, Glass Joe, King Hippo. Even nowadays, many fans of Punch-Out still remember these great boxing characters. Some of the boxers you fight a second time. You fight Piston Honda. Man, he's a lot more difficult, and Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream, depending on which version of the game you're playing, is literally next to impossible. Some of their punches they land once, and Little Mac is literally out in seconds. All in all, the gameplay of Punch-Out is a lot of fun. I've stated numerous times in this review already, but what really makes Punch-Out such a great video game is memorizing your opponent's attack patterns. It adds a whole new layer of fun to this game, which really makes it such a great boxing video game. What are my final thoughts about Punch-Out for the Nintendo Entertainment System? Punch-Out originally came out on the arcades, but if I were to compare the 4 Punch-Out games to my knowledge, the arcade, the NES version, Super Punch-Out, and the Wii version, Super Punch-Out is my favorite, but Punch-Out for the NES is second place for me. Punch-Out is such a fun Nintendo Entertainment System game. Whenever I play this video game, I can play it for hours because just the sheer fact that I can learn how to think critically and defeat my opponents makes for a fun and enjoyable video game. Punch-Out to this day is still one of the most popular games, and I give this video game a 9 out of 10. If you guys haven't played the original Punch-Out, I strongly encourage you to do so. This video game is a classic, and it's a must-have if you're an NES owner or video game owner. Thank you guys for watching this Neo review, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.